Georgetown gave me a broader view of the world and a different perception of myself.
The sense of history that you feel when you walk on this campus. I love being a part of that.
Georgetown is the epicenter of what we do.
I never forgot Georgetown. It changed my path in life for sure.
What Georgetown means to me, it's been my life. It has been my life.
Ended up at Georgetown because of my dad, who went to Georgetown in the 20s. It was a joy for him and became an absolute joy for me.
Going to one of the top law schools in the country and doing that in Washington, D.C. was particularly attractive.
So I came to Georgetown for the first time as a high school senior to visit a good friend. It was an amazing weekend, full of energy, and it was everything that we know Georgetown to be.
I think it was day one, unloaded the luggage from the family car, waved goodbye to the parents and said, "This is home."
We meet again tonight, boys with mirth and song. The melody flows.
Once a chime, always a chime. I was number 68. There are now 240. What a joy it is to meet this band of brothers and all of a sudden strike up a tune. Hopefully with a beer in your hand, because it sounds a little better if you have a beer or two.
A guy named Donnie Weber was a freshman ball player on our Carter, and we used to go to the games to support our floor mate, and haven't stopped going since.
At the junior prom at Georgetown, I met my husband, Ed. It was love at first sight.
A Jesuit tradition of service that was very much a part of the culture when I was there. I did engage in the clinic to focus on children with learning disabilities in D.C. schools.
I learned a lot, and I really grew when I was here. You get pushed beyond where you think you can go when you're at Georgetown. You think that it's more than you can do, and then you do it.
I went directly into the Army in 1967 after graduation, and went to officer candidate school. It was then that I realized firsthand the education that I'd gotten at Georgetown and how it was going to influence me the rest of my life.
Probably the most formative experiences at Georgetown came after I graduated, when I worked for Father Tim Healy as his speechwriter. And I think it was about my third week of work where I came to him and I said, "This word in your speech is not in Webster's." And the next morning, there was a copy of the Oxford English Dictionary on my desk because the message was, not every word in the English language is going to come out of these Americanized forms of things. There's a big world out there and you better learn it. And I did.
So the anticipation is you should really have profit margins quite a bit for the average store in the system. The preparation at Georgetown has a direct link still today in my work as a CEO. Very different. From a critical thinking standpoint, awareness of capital markets, regulatory environment, the SEC, how that works, companies going public, raising private capital. These are things to which I had exposure at Georgetown that I deal with in my daily life now.
And I've used the Georgetown network from the first job I ever had through all the successes associated with it. And those connections have continued to be the reason that I have stayed connected and the reason I give back, because I owe a lot to the university.
We realized that many of the elite schools were starting women's soccer teams, but Georgetown did not have one. So we started working very hard with the athletic director at the time to see if we could fund a girls' soccer team. The first game was up on North Keel, and I think I cried through the first quarter to see the girls out there in Georgetown shirts. It meant so much to me as a woman to see young ladies have this chance.
We've seen 3 and 23 who made those games. We've seen 31 and 4 who made those games. It's not whether they win or lose. It's the fact they are student athletes. It's the fact that Georgetown has not lost sight of that fact. Do we have a better alumni base in Indianapolis versus Cincinnati? I'm involved with Hoya Hoop Club because it's one thing to give dollars. It's important as well to give spirit, to give the opportunity of a home court advantage.
Meeting Joe Lawinger for the first time as tryouts for the chimes, and neither one of us knew what we were doing, but we just hit it off very well. He was my kind of guy. Chimes have always had a wonderful connection with the library because of the name. Happily chose to serve on the board. It was anything that I could do for not only Georgetown, but for my friend. Always the first thing I do when I come to the campus is go over to the library and walk past his portrait and look at it and say hello to him.
We also wanted to do something in brick and mortar, and I thought of the front gates, and we were able to design them and replicate a wonderful new gateway to the campus.
My own experience with the Developmental Disabilities Clinic at Georgetown really was a precursor of sorts to understanding what summer work or other types of clinic work can mean for students at Georgetown. So when the opportunity to help underwrite the Equal Justice Foundation and its summer internships at Georgetown, I felt very positively about helping support students on that same path who are at Georgetown today.
If we want to point to one thing that I would feel is the greatest accomplishment, it's the Board of Regents. It's an organization that I've been involved with since I was in my early 20s. So then in 2010, when Jack asked me to chair the Board of Regents, I had the opportunity to really see what this board could do. And the proof is really in the things that you see around this campus and in the students and the faculty who are here. Maybe most particularly as we sit in this building in Regents Hall, which is a reflection of all the work that the Regents have done. That's an amazing feeling to know that you've made a significant impact on both the history and the future of this university.
A fellow called me and said, you won the John Carroll Award. And he said, you appreciate this is the big dog. And I said, well, you can bet my tail's wagging.
I've had this smile on my face for about the last 6 weeks.
For all these years where we've been building the university's profile, the hardest work is done in people's communities. To think that I can stand beside people who have really done that kind of work in their lifetime for Georgetown is just an honor.
It is recognition that I feel humbled by. I've liked what I've done, but it's nice to be told what you've done has been beneficial to what we're doing.
To receive the Patrick Healy Award is very special to me. I feel as though Georgetown is finally, truly taking me into their family. I didn't get in first time around because girls were not accepted, but now I feel I truly am a Hoya.